And here we are on 6/22/2022. So 2 months late. There, we picked up our fifth 6, and we're going to be going through this tonight. Now, there's also a piece that came out by Astromut or Astronomy Live. This is a NASA nerd that is a senior forum moderator at Godlike Productions, and so he is doing the damage control against the next level. So one of the things that we want to point out is that there is this is a COINTEL hit piece, really. So there's going to be some true things said in it to get you hooked, and then there's going to be a lot of really bad disinformation. Are people being able to hear this, Ronnie? Just checking. Go? Is it good? Should I keep going? Alright, so basically what I'm going to be doing is I've got the timestamps here. We're going to go through the next level. And then we're going to go through the piece that was done by Astronomy Live, which is the COINTEL damage control. And he gives away so many goodies, Astromut does, that we can't not go through it. So if even without all these technical issues that we're having tonight, we were already thinking that this was going to be 2 live streams, probably an hour and a half in nature. So we've already sort of wasted a half an hour tonight just trying to get going on this information. So we're going to get into this, but I don't know how far we're going to get into it. And unfortunately, we're not going to have Ronnie to do commentary on this. So it's just going to be me stopping and hitting on some bullet points here. So let's get into this right here. This is the next level. This is the fair use. Fair use. So they're using clips under fair use. I'm using clips under fair use for criticism and commentary. Let's go.
And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made from the White House.
Challenger, only seconds after leaving the launch pad, according to NASA, has exploded.
It just has the same seats that like a normal car has. It's literally a normal car in space.
And we're going back to the moon, back to the future, and this time, back to step.
I should tell you that the first mission is scheduled to land on Mars on July the...
Alright, so has anybody noticed that everything that we're seeing right now is heliocentric space propaganda? So if you were making a Flat Earth documentary, would you be promoting everything that heliocentrism promotes, or would you be showing things like flat horizons and not people in space? So this right here is literally like you're sitting in a Universal Studios setup, and they're just going to feed you some heliocentric propaganda. That's how this is starting in the credits.
4th, 1997.
We will undertake extended human missions to the moon as early as 2015.
We launched a new spacecraft as part of a re-energized space program that will send American astronauts to Mars.
We will not only plant our flag and leave our footprint for an eventual mission to Mars.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
It is Photoshop, but it's has to be.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, the next level. That was all heliocentric propaganda, the entire thing. So let's see where they take this.
The one thing globe believers need to understand is that you don't just take the spinning ball Earth and flatten it out and put it back in the heliocentric model. Like it's just the only misfit planet and it's flat and the rest of the planets are round. No flat earther has ever said that. No flat earther will ever say that because it's not what we believe. The Earth is...
All right, so here's the interesting thing. No fake flat earther will say that we're on a pancake flying through space. But then again, no flat earther will tell you where their circular Truman Show Antarctic ice-walled world is. Right? They won't tell you if it's floating in space. They won't tell you anything about it. All they say is you're in a dome. You have an ice wall. That's it. They will not address where that is. Is it in outer space? Is it flying through the universe, through a galaxy? They won't address any of that. So
He's in a pancake floating in outer space, and you will never hear a flat earther say that. And if you would ever actually take the time to study it for yourself or hear a flat earther through, then you would find that it's much different and things would actually make more sense.
They've got the narrative controlled to where anyone that goes to search for this, they're going to see pancakes floating up in space, you know, and it turns people away. Or they see a snow globe out in the middle of space with water falling off the sides, and they're like, what is this? It turns them away. The mainstream agenda was to push.
So the mainstream agenda, everything that they're promoting is the things that trigger people to reject flat earth. So Behind the Curve, they're showing that. Remember who was in Behind the Curve? We got Bob Nodell, we've got Jaron. The only two people in the history of Earth to either, one, supposedly prove that Earth is spinning, or two, supposedly prove that there's curvature. Bob for the spinning, Jaron for the curvature. That's all the heliocentrists in this world have. Supposedly like 7, almost 8 billion people. You got two people that you can point to that supposedly have evidence of either rotation or curvature, and that's Bob Nodell and Jaron. So once you start understanding that these are all operatives that are working as part of a team, and then you start to see these guys, and the guy's got the Texas hat, and he's got his I'm not gonna say it, but the this look right here, and so this guy is going to be given a whole bunch of the Christian lines to read. And he's going to say some truth, and he's going to say some really crazy stuff too. So he's starring in a movie just like David Weiss and all these other people starred in Behind the Curve. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick apart each one of the things that these guys support and what they don't support, that kind of stuff. And you're going to see that this entire narrative by this team was created to be the COINTEL answer to what Ronnie and I have been doing for the last 5 years. It's all topics that we've talked about and covered in great length, and they're going to shill like crazy just saying some insane stuff that we're going to be able to tell you these are the things that you can actually go test and prove for yourself. That you don't need to have a high education, you don't need to have expensive tools or equipment, and you don't have to be particularly smart to even understand these things. So we're just going to go through and we're going to dissect the narrative that's coming out of this piece right here and lay it straight.
Their false narrative, all these hit pieces on flat Earth. 2016, 2017, that was pretty much the end of the YouTube era, where we could actually find real evidence, real content. Any search engine, the algorithms are suited to their favor. You're going to see all the hit pieces. You're going to see all the stuff that's there to debunk flat Earth. So.
All right. So has anybody ever taken a look at the information that they put up to debunk flat Earth? All you're going to find is takedowns of the straw man fake flat Earth. All right, so the Freemason New World Order AE Mappa model is the circular, right, domed, sun, moon, and stars doing circles model. Now, any person intellect 5 years or older can actually be shown how what we actually observe and witness makes that model impossible. Right, because what they're doing is they're disregarding all of the information from south of the equator. They just throw it right out the door. Act like it doesn't exist. So the it's all a straw man takedown. So every one of those debunks are related to an impossibility with the model that's presented by these guys.
Oh, it's just, it's almost impossible to get the real information.
YouTube played their part in it, and not just cherry picking which videos they wanted to show, but deciding whether or not they wanted you to subscribe to somebody. So on several occasions and with several different content creators, I'd press the subscribe button to then find out several days or several weeks later that I couldn't find that content creator, assuming they'd either been deleted or they'd been censored beyond belief. And of course they had been, because my subscription that was previously made was no longer there. And I know that I hadn't unsubscribed to anybody. And then resubscribing, you'd find again that down the line that the same things reoccurred.
There's a major campaign by Google and YouTube and all of these corporate lying companies.
All right, so one of the things that you got to pay attention to as you go through this is multiple characters. So this Santos Bonacci, it'd be interesting to hear Ronnie's take if we could hear him, but they're not going to allow us. But the pyramids here. So he's got the pyramids on the desk. Hibbler has got the pyramids in his shot. So one of the things I want to point out is that all these people, they use the signs and symbols to identify themselves. And so what we're looking at is the Kabbalists. We're looking at Freemasons, Jesuits, Knights Templars, all these people that worship Egypt and the pyramids and all that kind of crap. It's this is the group. This is the New World Order. All right, guys like this. This is New World Order. He's supporting all this. These are the people that are behind all the narratives in the world right now that you think are stupid, like, you know, being forced to take some sort of medication that you didn't want to take, having to pay $5.50 a gallon for fuel because some guys are shooting paintballs at each other over in the Ukraine. So these guys are all the top tier on camera New World Order agents.
To discredit the flat earth. Why do they have that disclaimer under every video dealing with the topic of flat earth, that it is an archaic, antiquated, outdated model that the ancients used to believe in? Of course, the ancients were stupid. They didn't know how to build Gothic cathedrals, and they didn't know how to build cities and pyramids.
The problem is people that...
So cities and pyramids. So all right, this is a picture.
Right. And they didn't know how to build cities and...
This is another picture. It's not real.
Pyramids.
This is a picture that's not real. So why is it that they're using just pictures? And the fact he's got the pyramids on his desk, and everybody takes it to the Great Pyramids in Egypt. So this is the Kabbalists. These are these Egyptian pharaoh worshipping New World Order Kabbalists.
The problem is people that think that flat earth is stupid think flat earth is stupid because they're thinking of a stupid flat earth. And they ridicule and make...
Thinking of a stupid flat earth. So that's the thing. He's the guy that's supporting the idea that the sun, moon, and stars are doing a circle, right? Like this. Where anybody that goes out and watches sunrise and sunset can actually see with their own eyes that the sun isn't growing larger as it comes overhead and shrinking as it goes away. David Weiss has got a handful, maybe half a dozen CGIs of a shrinking sun, but anybody that's actually gone out and watched a sunrise or a sunset with their own eyes and then zoomed in and recorded it actually understands that it doesn't change size. It comes up full size from the horizon, sets full size down below the horizon, and so it's not circling. So when you go around telling people that the sun and moon are doing circles, an intelligent person immediately rejects this and understands that it's stupid. You can actually watch and see that it doesn't.
Make fun of flat earthers. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Since 2015, the content providers for Flat Earth have had a living hell. We have been ridiculed, we have been trolled, we have been censored beyond belief by YouTube.
Oops. All right, so now we can skip ahead. We're going to jump ahead to 540. Martin is not worth playing. He's a worthless shill. And so we're going to check out some actually decent information, and this is going to lead us into the debunk video by Astrology Live. So check this out.
This spinning disk illusion that's going upwards in space that I can assure you nobody believes in. If the globe model was as strong as they claim to be, then there wouldn't be so much concern with anybody talking about a stationary Earth model. Now, everything's fine in court until somebody walks in with a load of shit on you. Everything's fine until somebody out there has evidence that's going to prove you guilty. And that's when you start acting suspicious.
All right, so we got the echoed guilty. She's sharing the NASA document. This is going to get serious, everyone.
That's when you start panicking. That's when you...
So start panicking. Let's get over to Astromut and see how he panicked. So this is on the Red's Rhetoric channel. This is funny. There's a comment. There's a comment from Covidiot New World Order shill Mac Parhar. It says, so the debunk of the NASA document stating a flat, non-rotating Earth is that computers back then were not capable of doing the calculations for spherical rotating trajectories. That means the calculations for rotating and moving trajectories were never done. And so we'll go through this, and then we'll check out the responses that Astronomy Live left. But so here's the freak out response from the heliocentric model.
Hi folks, this is Astronomy Live. I'm going to be doing a point-by-point debunk of the next level. Now I'm going to be using the standard definition free version of this video available on YouTube and BitChute. There is an HD version available, but it's behind a paywall.
I'm using the same standard version.
A dumpster fire of copyright strikes and fair use responses, etc., all because I used the HD version that was behind a paywall. Fair use does require using the minimum for a response, and technically, you could argue that because they've made a free standard definition version available, in order to respond to this video, that's all you really need. And that's fair enough, so that's what I'm going to stick with. Now you may be wondering why this video isn't on my own channel. Well, my channel lately has gotten...
Alright, so I am wondering already why, if he's just using this under fair use and he's using the standard definition and you know, you haven't gone behind the paywall to pay for the high def or whatever, why is it that you're just sitting here playing the heliocentric critics? We've got David Weiss in space and a, you know, Elon Musk car flying through here. Why is it that you're just playing the credits without any commentary, criticism? You're just babbling on about why you're using Red's Rhetoric's channel as you're playing the opener for this stupid video.
Further and further away from debunking, and has a more narrow focus on doing real astronomy and creating new software tools for tracking asteroids, satellites, rockets,
and satellites,
and the like. And that's really where the focus of my channel is these days. So I don't want to distract from that by posting an hour-long video or more responding to a flat Earth documentary. It just doesn't fit the theme of my
yeah. Hibbler flying into the sun.
With that said, I do want to thank Red's Rhetoric for hosting this video, and everyone else who's also willing to share it. So now let's get into the next.
Was that a thank you? Right? Because I'm sharing it. Did I get a thank you? Oh, you shouldn't have.
Next level.
The one thing globe believers need to understand is that you don't just take the spinning ball Earth and flatten it out and put it back in the heliocentric model.
All right, so you're going to start figuring out that he's starting at the beginning of the video. We started through the video. This is how it starts. And so he's starting from the beginning of the video, but he's going to be cutting in and doing his debunks. And that's where we're going to get real excited.
Like it's just the only misfit planet and it's flat and the rest of the planets are round. No flat earther has ever said that. No flat earther will ever say that because it's not what we believe. The Earth isn't a pancake floating in outer space, and you will never hear a flat earther say that. And if you would ever actually take the time to study it for yourself, or hear a flat earther through, then you would find that it's much different and things would actually make more sense.
He's right about.
So things are much different. So what is it that he says? He says we're on a circular disc that has a dome. The only thing he won't admit is that it's flying in outer space, right? But other than that, he won't even tell you where it's at. Where is this? He's not going to explain any of that, and never will.
One thing, what they actually believe is quite different, much more extreme, and even easier to debunk. This footage of Venus can be...
So, we went from what ODD said to now all of a sudden Astronomy Live is showing us footage of stars, right? And he's going to take it to the P1000, and then he's going to show us his version.
Seen later in the documentary, but the rest of this video is actually from a totally different video on Eric Dubé's channel. This shows what they claim planets look like with a P900. It's actually out of focus. This is not what planets and stars look like with proper telescopes properly focused. You can see plenty of footage like that on my channel.
So now all of a sudden he says, this right here, that's the real stuff that came from me.
Here's some, for an example, a time-lapse that I recorded of the planet Mars. Here's a side-by-side of his out-of-focus real-time footage on the right versus my in-focus time-lapse footage on the left.
They've got the narrative controlled to where anyone that goes to search for this, they're going to see pancakes floating up in space, you know, and it turns people away. Or they see a snow globe. A snow globe out in the middle of space with water falling off the sides, and they're like, what is this?
Oh, no. So, a snow globe. Or they see a snow globe. He hit his line right there. He really did. Or they see a snow globe.
A snow globe.
Boom. That's it. You show most people that, and they are out. That's how you turn them off immediately. Show them that Truman Show snow globe, and they are done.
A snow globe out in the middle of space with water falling off the sides, and they're like, what is this?
What is
Turns
this?
them away. The mainstream agenda was to push their false narrative.
Definitely noticing a trend here of the sad music with the sad flat earther, the oppressed flat earther. Their beliefs aren't fairly represented. Honestly, you should go check out Behind the Curve. I think it does a great job of fairly...
So he's now pressing people to go check out Behind the Curve. All right, so of course Ronnie and I covered this the entire way, and for those that aren't familiar with it, I was actually in Behind the Curve, right? So the strange occurrence was that I went to Pat Steer's meetup in Houston when the guy that was filming Behind the Curve was there, and I went out and did an interview, and they put it in the movie. They put it in the movie. So I was in Behind the Curve. Now, I was in there telling people what's going to happen, right? If you stand up for the truth, you're going to end up losing friends and family. Told people the truth, but they wanted to put that in the video because what they're trying to do is to turn people off to this truth. So I was just giving people the heads up that that's part of it. When you stand up for the truth, you are going to be separated from the people that won't.
Representing their beliefs and showing the flaws in their belief system, but it even does a good job of sympathizing with how they've slipped through the cracks. It doesn't just make fun of them. And so, highly recommend that people go check it out if they haven't already. Really good documentary. Alright, moving on.
All these hit pieces on flat Earth. In 2016, 2017, that was pretty much the end of the YouTube era, where we could actually find real evidence, real content. Any search engine, the algorithms are suited to their favor. You're going to see all the hit pieces. You're going to see all the stuff that's there to debunk flat Earth. So it's just it's almost impossible to get the real information.
So we see more of the typical sad, poor, oppressed flat earther. I hate to break it to him, but flat Earth isn't the truth. Nevertheless, it's true that YouTube is suppressing flat Earth on their platform. They openly stated this in a blog post on the official YouTube blog back in January 2019.
We covered
They openly
it.
state that they are going to reduce recommendations of what they consider to be borderline content, and among other things, they specifically name flat Earth. So it's...
But one of the things, once you're a truther and you start seeing these disclaimers up on videos, you know that every one of the videos that has the disclaimer up, or almost all of them, are are all real. I haven't seen any disclaimers on stuff like Bigfoot or anything like that. It's always actually like the New World Order and Flat Earth and all these kinds of stuff.
True that Flat Earth is harder to find on YouTube today than it was even a few years ago, and that's because they've altered the algorithm to push that content down. Now, what I'm about to say is going to surprise a lot of people, and there's a lot of people who debunk Flat Earth that are going to disagree with me on this, but personally, I don't like this strategy for a couple of reasons. For one thing, it helps insulate their community. Now, this has the beneficial effect, perhaps, of making it harder for people to fall into the trap of that belief system to begin with, but for the people already in it, it does nothing to draw them out of that belief system, and in fact, makes them harder to reach. While it's true that some Flat Earthers have left the movement recently, still others have actually died because they've been ignoring medical advice.
Now that's a reference to Rob Skiba and Mac Parhar, which is funny because it was the COVIDiot New World Order show Mac Parhar that left this comment. Crazy.
Flat Earth is not a harmless belief. Once you're that deep in the rabbit hole, it's not just about disbelieving that the Earth is round. It's about distrusting science in general, and that can have a very negative effect on your life when you start ignoring what science is saying about other things that have a more immediate and direct impact on your health and well-being. The other reason I disagree with this strategy is, I admit, a little bit selfish, and that's the fact that the algorithm typically does such a poor job at distinguishing between content that promotes a conspiracy theory and content that refutes the conspiracy theory. And to a large extent, it seems like YouTube doesn't care. I've seen a number of cases where a video was demonetized or even taken down because it was said to have promoted misinformation. Upon manual review, that decision was upheld because they said the video repeated the claim even though it immediately refuted the claim. And
alright, so he's whining right now about how he can't make money covering Flat Earth because even if he's out there refuting it because he brings up Flat Earth, he can't be monetized. So he's whining about how the shills can't get paid to refute Flat Earth. It's hilarious.
That alone was enough to violate the rules.
Analytic will give you government hate propaganda against the Flat Earth truth.
If you go to Google and try to find anything Flat Earth related, then the first thing that's going to pop up is the Flat Earth Society, and that is something that has absolutely nothing to do with this movement. In fact, it's a completely made-up organisation in order to deter anybody looking for some sort of truth.
Interesting that she would complain about an organization of flat earthers who are allegedly insincere in their beliefs. In a later episode, we will see evidence that whoever edited the video must have realized that it was a lie, and therefore, they too are insincere in their beliefs.
Now, everything's fine in court until somebody walks in with a load of shit on you. Everything's fine until somebody out there has evidence that's going to prove you guilty.
Guilty.
Let's freeze it here for a moment. This collage...
Alright, so we got to the point where we were in the original video, and now Astromut is going to go into an explanation of the NASA technical note. And it's too bad Ronnie can't be here right now because his name is literally on the screen right now. It says by Robert L. James Jr. and Ronald J. Harris, right there, right? So hilarious that they stuck his name into this document. This is, well, we'll let Astromut go through his thing.
Highlighting the words flat, non-rotating Earth, is taken from a technical note published when? Well, it says right there, library copy April 17th, 1961. It didn't take long to locate the original technical note. You can see it's even the same scan based on the horizontal lines going across it, and you can see indeed it was published in April 1961. Now, what was different over 60 years ago? Well, a lot of things, but among other things, the amount of computing power that was readily available. Let's take a closer look.
Let's take a
Here's
closer
the section
look.
containing the statement highlighted by the flat earthers, the reference to a flat, non-rotating Earth. The sentence immediately following that is very important, though. It says this trajectory simulation was programmed on the IBM 704 electronic data processing machine. Let's see if we can figure out why that might be important in making the decision to calculate the missile's position relative to a simple flat, non-rotating Earth. The IBM 704 computer could perform multiplication and division at a speed of about 4,000 operations per second. Now it could perform simple addition and subtraction operations much faster, but more complicated trigonometric functions would take longer to do. Trigonometric functions could be performed using a Taylor series or a lookup table, but this would involve potentially a dozen multiplication events or more, and this would take longer to do than a simple multiplication or division event on its own. So how long would it take to calculate for the shape and rotation of the Earth. Let's do a little math and find out. These pages from the book Practical Astronomy with Your Calculator show how to calculate for the shape and rotation of the Earth. This includes calculating for such effects as nutation and precession. The Earth's axis is not always pointed in the same direction. In fact, it's constantly changing over time, and these calculations require an extensive series of trigonometric functions to be performed. In total, I count about 109 trigonometric functions that need to be calculated, and an additional 98 multiplication or division calculations that need to occur. Given that the trigonometric functions will take about a dozen times longer to perform than a simple multiplication or division, this will require the equivalent of about 1,400 multiplication or division events to occur, out of the 4,000 that can be performed per second. If we were only computing things for a single moment in time, that might not seem like a significant impact, but that's not the purpose of these calculations. We have to go back to the original purpose of this program, which is a trajectory simulation and to study the effects of wind on the rocket's trajectory.
Hello! A trajectory simulation and to study the effects of wind on the trajectory. That was the original purpose, right? I want to make sure that you lock that one in your head. That was the original purpose. Let's check it out. Go back 2 clicks.
Impact, but that's not the purpose of these calculations. We have to go back to the original purpose of this program, which is a trajectory simulation and to study the effects of wind on the rocket's trajectory. To do that, you need to calculate the position of the rocket across many points in time. Let's take one more look at the date this...
Do you understand that? Trajectory. You have to study the effects across many points in time. That means literally every single movement. If you were to pinpoint it as far as its latitude, longitude, altitude, all these things, pinpoint its location, you would have to do all these calculations for every single moment in time. Now, the higher the resolution, you're going to have more frames per second. You're going to look at 30 calculations per second, or you're going to look at 120 calculations per second, or 480 calculations per second. So right now he's talking about doing the calculations for 1 point in time. That's it. That is it.
This was published. The library received a copy April 17th, 1961. That is less than a month before Alan Shepard would become the first.
So less than a month before the first guy gets into a rocket. I want you to start thinking about, were they able to calculate the trajectory of this rocket? Right, you would have to have the calculations for the thrust, and you would have to the pitch and all that kind of stuff, and to do the calculations. So what we're going to find out here is the Astromut is already beginning to tell us that they did not have the computing power to do the calculations for a trajectory, even for one like this. All right, let's rewind. Make sure you catch that.
They received a copy April 17th, 1961.
April 17th, 1961.
That is less than a month before Alan Shepard would become the first American in space, while launching on Freedom 7 on top of a Mercury Redstone rocket, a suborbital flight that only lasted 15 minutes. Let's say you wanted to calculate the...
Alright, so here we have graphics. So if you want to do the calculations, alright, for how much G's, how many G's you're going to be pulling, what angle you need to be pointed, what trajectory, all these things in order to actually go up and come back down and land somewhere, just like you were shooting an artillery shell and you were trying to hit something. You'd be taking the mass of it and the velocity of it, and you would be calculating at this distance, at this angle, you would have a certain trajectory. They didn't have any of that. They didn't have it. Listen.
Full 15-minute trajectory of the rocket with a time resolution of 0.01 seconds. That would require 90,000 steps to be calculated, and with each step requiring about a third of a second to calculate for the shape and rotation of the Earth while taking into account the nutation and precession of Earth's axis to be as accurate as possible. This would require about 8 hours of time for the IBM 704 to calculate.
You got that? Just to make one of these lines right here. To make that line, it would take 8 hours for that computer back then. We're going to go through the computer real quick. All right, we're getting close to the end of this video. We'll show you what that computer was like, but he's letting you know right now, to make this line right here, would take about 8 hours.
And that's without calculating anything for the rocket itself. That is allowing...
So no calculations for the rocket. All right, we'll go through each one of these steps.
No time for any calculation of the rocket's thrust, its acceleration.
No calculation for the thrust or acceleration. All right, no calculation for that.
Its aerodynamics or the wind.
Nothing about aerodynamics or the wind.
As described in this paper. That is just calculating for the shape and rotation of Earth with an IBM 704 computer.
Shape and rotation of Earth. So there's no curvature, there's no rotation. He's saying to make this line right here would take the computer 8 hours. And let's listen one more time to all the things that it did not calculate for.
To calculate. And that's without calculating anything for the rocket itself. That is allowing no time for any calculation of the rocket's thrust, its acceleration, its aerodynamics, or the wind, as described in this paper. That is just calculating for the shape.
All the things that would be necessary, right? No calculation for them.
And rotation of Earth with an IBM 704 computer. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what's the big deal? Sure, it's another 8 hours, but we know computers back then were slower. Why not let it run overnight? What difference does it make? Why not calculate for the shape and rotation of the Earth? Might as well. Well, you have to keep in mind, these computers were not nearly as reliable as the computers we enjoy today. No, in fact, here's a quote that states the IBM 704 had a mean time to failure of about 55 minutes in this person's experience.
Whoa, mean time to failure every 55 minutes. Now he takes you to Wikipedia where it shows failed every 8 hours, but he has some insider sources. And remember, this is like the top NASA shill that says that this computer would fail on the average every 55 minutes.
Now, Wikipedia quotes a more conservative 8-hour mean time to failure, and that was considered reliable back then. Yes, those old vacuum tube computers running on punch cards were a lot less reliable than what we have
on punch
today.
cards.
So, adding an additional 8 hours to a program meant not just adding more time, but more risk of failure.
All right, so you might be wondering now, what? Vacuum tubes, punch cards? What are you talking about? So let's take a look at these IBMs back then. So the IBM 790, this is a more modern version of what was going on. So this was the computer terminal. So we're all smart people here. If you look at that terminal right there, all right, there's no computer screen. All you have is these lights, and you have these buttons and stuff like this. So how did they calculate once again that curve? Because you don't have any sort of output terminal. This is the computer, everybody. It ran off of punch cards. That's the computer. Right? And that calculated the rotation of Earth, and it made that trajectory, even though it wasn't able to calculate for aerodynamics or thrust or any of those things. On this computer, they got their little readout, and they were able to do all their calculations. This is this is a newer version right here, everybody. The Operators Council at the NASA Ames Research Center in 1961 with 2 banks of IBM 729 magnetic tape drives. The card reader is in front of the man and woman at the right. So you just stick your punch cards in here, all right, and that'll tell you how far your rocket's going to go and where it's going to land and how you can go to the moon. Right? Do you see the problem? So it's hilarious. We've got Astromut doing his COINTEL cover damage control while literally releasing the information that they did not have the computing power to create trajectories back then. They did not have it.
It was therefore not only common, but important back then to simplify programs as much as possible, to focus on just what it was you wanted to study, in that case, the effect of wind on a rocket, without considering the shape or rotation of the Earth. Of course, it was important for them to openly state what assumptions and simplifications they were making. They weren't saying that they thought the Earth was flat or non-rotating. They were simply telling everyone what factors they hadn't computed for when they made these calculations.
You start acting suspicious, that's when you start panicking, that's when you start...
Did you catch that? What factors they had not he laid it out there. If you're too dumb to not catch that, you deserve what you get. His whole rebuttal for this whole thing, listen to what he says right here.
They weren't saying that they thought the Earth was flat or non-rotating. They were simply telling everyone what factors they hadn't computed for.
What factors they hadn't computed for. So he said aerodynamics and thrust and all these other factors. None of those things were calculated for.
They made these calculations.
You start acting suspicious. That's when you start panicking. That's when you start putting damage control out there, which is
hello, Astromut.
What these bots are, what these trolls are on social media, and of course the algorithms.
Going for the shill gambit pretty early there, claiming that FTFE, MC Toon, and others like myself are really just damage control.
You are.
Speaking of damage control, I'm interested to see what kind of response they have to this video. But that's gonna...
I've got a funny response, and we'll get into it as we go through the next level. So the idea that you can see over 200 miles is nonsense. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. We're going to show everybody just how far you can see. And it's not 200 miles. So let's go back to the video and keep going through it now. That was Astromut's COINTEL coverage of the next level from the heliocentric shill point of view.
Start putting damage control out there, which is inevitably what these bots are, what these trolls are on social media, and of course the algorithms. This is just a new lie that was started in the 20s, and even before then they weren't really teaching anything about the world and where we were. It was just common knowledge.
One of the main arguments...
Alright, so she said the 20s. The thing about heliocentrism is it really took root in the Catholic Church. So it all of heliocentrism came from the Catholic Church, and that began in the 1600s with guys like Sir Isaac Newton and Galileo and all these different Catholic Church characters, Freemasons and Jesuits. So she lied. It's not true. They were promoting this before the 1920s, but all of a sudden in the 20s there was a huge ratchet up because you had World War going on. And at that same time, they were releasing the new modern technologies like film and like TV and stuff like that. So right away, they were grabbing the attention of people and sucking them into heliocentrism on a mass scale, whereas before they only had the limited range of whoever their Catholic priests and stuff like that were able to influence.
That globe believers come at you with is we've known for 2,000 years. Aristophanes figured it out with his sticks and shadows. Well, Aristophanes may or may not have been a real mathematician. He figured out the shape of the earth. That would have made him.
All right. So one of the things that you can see that they're doing in the video is they're showing off just how short David Weiss is. So I don't know. If you were to put him next to Brian Stavely, they might see eye to eye. So that's not good. These are like 5-footers right here. They're not. Something happened to them. They're like they took something that stunted their growth. Didn't work.
The Michael Jordan of mathematicians, but nobody ever.
It's so funny because he takes it to Michael Jordan. So as soon as you look at him and see how short he is, right away his next comment is about Michael Jordan and mathematicians. So this is all scripted. There's a narrative here where he's mocking himself right now. This little guy out here talking about Michael Jordan.
Mentioned him in a book until the mid-1900s.
What's crazy is I've talked to some elderly people, and they've told me that back in their day when they were in school, they didn't even learn about people like Copernicus or Galileo. Everything's up for grabs at this point. People like Christopher Columbus and any other figure in history could be totally false or created just for some sort of agenda.
This is everywhere. We found somebody in Croatia. They said they were teaching flat Earth through the 1930s.
Most people think that this flat Earth versus globe Earth has been going back and forth for thousands of years. No, it has not. This is a brand new deception. They come up with these stories, these fictional stories, fictional characters, to reinforce that we live on a ball.
All of our globe provers, Galileo, Aristophanes, Copernicus, the pictures of them show that they're Masons, but I contend that we don't even know if they're real. All of our history is a lie.
So right away he's throwing cover for, he says they're Masons, they're Jesuits, they are Vatican shills, and then right away now we don't know that they're even real. All right, so he's throwing shade for the Vatican shills right now.
Lie. I've met people that said that they were taught flat Earth in the early 1960s in school. They were taught flat Earth and globe Earth.
All right, so it is true that this is very modern. It wasn't until the moon landing hoax that it really got planted into most people's consciences, because they heard it on the radio or saw it on their little TV. But let's go ahead and jump ahead to 1034.
Rockefeller seems to have a role in this. He started the General Education Board and continued being involved with the educational system. The fact of the matter is, the people that have been in control, they're in control now, and they're going to continue to be in control, whether they pass it down or change the name, whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, whenever Rockefeller's name is tied to something, it's always something to question, that's for sure.
All right. So he just told you that the Rockefellers were involved in this. And he also told you that the people that are in control are going to stay in control. That means he's telling you that he is for the Rockefellers. All right, listen to this and understand what's actually coming out of his mouth.
Seems to have a role in this. He started the General Education Board and continued being involved with the educational system. The fact of the matter is, the people that have been in control, they're in control now, and they're going to continue to be in control, whether they pass it down or change the name, whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, whenever Rockefeller's name is tied to something, it's always something to question, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let's jump ahead here to 1207.
One of the main reasons to hide this. But, you know, at the same time...
All right, main reasons to hide this. So now all of a sudden we've got the mustache guy, Christian from Texas, and he's going to let you know that knowing that there is a creator, that's the reason why they're hiding this.
Knowing that there is a creator, absolutely. That is one of the main reasons to hide this. But, you know, at the same time, it's nowhere near comparison when 1 billion people find out that there's more land.
It's about hidden land. I think that
it's about inland. So the mustache Texan guy goes from hiding the creator to all of a sudden the way more important thing is more lands. That's nonsense. Like, who cares about more lands? Nobody barely ever moves from 30 miles of where they're born. Like, you're gonna go all of a sudden move to the North or South Pole and live with the penguins because there's more land there? Get out of here. So listen to the editing, the way this is all put together. He goes from acknowledging the most important thing, the fact that it's all about hiding the creator, to more land.
Tell you something why we can't talk about literally the thing that we're standing on. Why is that?
Here we go.
Knowing that there is a creator, absolutely. That is one of the main reasons to hide this. But, you know, at the same time, it's nowhere near comparison.
Nowhere near comparison.
When 1 billion people find out that there's more land.
It's about hidden land. I think there's possible they could be
more
hiding
land
land in here somewhere with us. And I think that the Antarctica Treaty is very, very
Antarctica
sinister. There must be something else going on.
They went really tough with their implementation of the Antarctic Treaty and everything else, and just to keep people away from the truth. They didn't want people to know about more land.
Haven't we been fighting over land forever? Isn't that what always happens? Countries fighting over land, but not on the outskirts of Antarctica. Oh, no. No fighting there. They're all in agreement. You can't go there. You can't explore any of it.
That treaty was in effect in 1959. It can't even be questioned until the year 2041. The longest lasting treaty.
So right away, there's where's the evidence for anything beyond South America, Africa? Like, so Antarctica, yes, we know that exists. We also know that you can sail around it. They have races, and it's not this huge 60,000 mile always turning right as you're heading west loop, right? You're actually always turning left as you're heading west. It's so the idea that you would have any information about anything beyond what anybody's ever gone to, and you have names for them, islands, and this is, oh yeah, visual concept. But this is what they're promoting. This is pure propaganda, everybody.
That all of the world signed on to at the same time and is still in place. Antarctica is the container of our world oceans.
No.
What is beyond Antarctica? Why is the government hiding Antarctica from us? Why is Antarctica completely off limits except for taking a tour of a little peninsula off of South America, which is nothing? And people go, well, you can go to Antarctica.
Well, we spent months trying to actually do it.
So now you actually have Alex Jones playing cover for the New World Order fake flat earthers, talking about how he tried to go to Antarctica. Check this out. He's got Hibbler and Eddie Bravo. This is hilarious.
I was going to send a crew. They won't call back. You can't even go there. There's one peninsula where you look at penguins.
Exactly. And then you think, I have.
And remember in Behind the Curve, the whole use of the penguins, all these things are tied together. Scripted.
Some friends that went to South Pole. Yeah, they put them in that little island with penguins. You can't just
saying you went to Antarctica and you walked around it. He's like being in New Jersey and saying you were chilling in California. It's huge.
There's about 100 different companies that you can spend a lot of money to go on a little guided tour of just that peninsula, but all of those companies are owned under one umbrella. One person controls them all. They don't let anybody explore Antarctica.
Look at these pictures.
Antarctica.
Will be a international headline in about 5 minutes. Australian Navy ship shooting.
Bad boys, bad boys.
Is it?
The turret is turning our way.
The turret's turning.
All right, so this is being promoted right now as some guys on a boat. They're going to be turned back from going to Australia. Does anybody have any common sense that's going to be able to discern that these are not guys on a boat headed to Antarctica right now?
At us.
Wait, we should hide Adrian in case they think we're
Oh, and you remember those beeps before? Because you didn't get to hear the swear words, Hibbler's letting you know you can pay for the HD version where you can actually hear the swear words. Bad boys. Look at this. Bad boys. This is warship. Hobart. You are operating in restricted maritime. We need you to exit the area immediately. Thumbs up.
We're going that way.
We're just traversing.
Yeah, we're just traversing. We weren't trying to go to Antarctica. No. Look at these guys with their t-shirts and...
Just go. That's a drone. Is it? That's unreal.
They got stopped from going to Antarctica.
When people say, why the lie? One of the main answers is they're hiding more land.
What about the other one, hiding the creator?
What if we can truly become free? The whole reason for this is because of more land. Because think about it.
This guy's all about the more land now. He doesn't even care about the creator.
If there's more real estate, if there's more resources, natural resources, if there's more food for our starving children, if there's more space, more room for us to get away from the trafficking.
All right, so this whole section here, like the next 7 minutes, it's all about more land, more land, more land, more land. Let's go up to 22 minutes. So we're going to run to about 9:30 tonight, everybody. Then we'll pack it up, and then there'll probably be a part 2, and we'll see if that time we can be joined by the Limitless one. So That whole section right there is about more land, more land, more land. Now let's check out Trudeau.
North, which is also off limits.
I went on my first official trip. I was going with my father and my grandpa Sinclair up to the North Pole. It was a very glamorous destination. I figured I was finally going to be let into the reason for the existence of this high security Arctic base.
Oh, high security Arctic base. His delivery on that line. I'm sorry, everybody. You got to check it again. And look at the pictures that are put into the editing. You got the Mount Meru. But Justin's delivery on this was exceptional, in my opinion.
I figured I was finally going to be let into the reason for the existence of this high security Arctic base.
Base.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right.
We drove slowly through and past the building.
We drove slowly through and past. So they're going to the Arctic base, and just want to remind everybody that the magnetic pole is actually out here, according to the heliocentrists, in the middle of the Arctic Ocean. Right, so it's not like you just drive to the base, but I guess maybe he was on snowmobiles during the middle of winter and this was an ice sheet or something, right? So issues with the story.
Buildings on a special top secret mission. And that's when I understood just how powerful and wonderful my father was.
The North Pole is a biggie. It's always been in my mind. I've juggled with the idea, is there hidden land? Could they have possibly hidden continents in the Arctic Ocean, which is seemingly an ocean? They could hide land there. Many old maps will show you the Hyperborean, 4 continents.
What?
And in the center, Axis Mundi. And I
Mount
think that's
Meru?
what's there. I think there is Mount Meru. And I think that gives off an acoustic device.
There's definitely something special going on.
Acoustic device. Does anybody know what an acoustic device is? Guitars are a good example of an acoustic device. What happens when you strum them? You can hear them. So he's saying you can hear Mount Meru. No, they're just talking nonsense and gibberish. Anybody that follows this stuff is stupid.
There, and if you just think about that long enough, why do compasses point north? I mean, that's really wild in itself. What if we all took our compasses out and just followed them until it stops?
A compass will always point north, towards the magnetic north. There's some kind of force or some type of energy, frequency, vibration that's pulling that needle to the north.
It's crazy to think that all compasses are pointing north.
That's a lie. So compasses have 2 poles. There is a north pole and a south pole. So it's pointing to the north and it's pointing to the south. When you go south of the equator, you're actually going, the south pole is what is leading you. So one of the things that if you don't understand that you need to have a weighted magnet for the north and you need to have a weighted magnet for the south, because what happens is the closer you get to the pole, the more the needle actually wants to tip down and pull towards Earth. So you need to have the balance on the needle, otherwise it grounds out and it doesn't give you an accurate reading anymore. So the same thing happens when you go south to people. There's 2 poles on a magnet, north and south. It doesn't just point north, it also points south. It's provable by the fact that you have to have a weighted compass for the south.
To the North Pole. No compass points south. There is no South Pole.
They all do.
Compass that's going
They all do.
go south. And no, it's come past. Come to the north. There's
Come
something
past.
there. I think we can all agree there's something there. And it's crazy that they cover it up. They've covered it up for so long.
There's ancient civilizations, the Nordics, there's...
Oh no. For real? We're at 24 something. Come on. Play. Come on, play. Gigabit internet. Get out of here. This is ridiculous. I know I missed and I hit the skip forward, but why won't you play now? Behave. Alright, I'm going to try one more reload here, and if this doesn't play, then...
North.
Oh. It just started playing. Load it up. Come on. I hope you're all having a good time tonight.
No compass that's going to be on. Go south. No, it's come past. Come to the north. There's something there. I think we can all agree there's something there. And it's crazy that they cover it up. They've covered it up for so long.
There's ancient civilizations, the Nordics. There's people have talked about, you know, the Rupert Nigra, the Mount Meru, the giant magnetic mountain at the center.
Rupert
An entire magnetic mass or a mountain that is strong enough to make everybody's compass point north.
When I was a kid in school, they showed us a National Geographic video of the guys getting to the North Pole, and they just basically made it look so horrible and miserable and dark and cold that no kid ever in his life would go, hey, I want to go to the North Pole.
So if you watch any documentary about the North Pole or anybody venturing to the North Pole, all you're gonna find is some dude mobbing on an ice sheet, and he's got a little device in his hand. He's like, 3, 2, 1, North Pole. And that's not the North Pole, man. That's
I just don't know what this is.
Alright, so you go from ODD saying that's not the North Pole to, alright, you're watching a movie right now, supposed documentary, and here the editing goes straight to a scene from the Dark Tower 2017. It's all Columbia Pictures. Any truther knows that. Alright, here's another Freemasonic company, and this is somehow going to be proof of something. Get out of here. That's absolute nonsense. So what they're trying to do is promote this toroidal field, this electric universe. Alright, we're going to get up to 2948. So let's go to 2822. Here's our mustache man.
Observe all of this evidence, this eyewitness testimony. The verdict would come back guilty. It would come back guilty.
Okay. You are moving 1,000 miles an hour as Earth rotates.
All right, so here we have an actual good clip. Before it was some Columbia movie. Now we've got Neil deGrasse and some other guy. Now pay attention to what Neil says, because this is the big glowing moment for the next level where they get to overstand heliocentrists right now. All right, so check this out.
Rotates, you are moving 18 miles per second in orbit around the sun, and you don't feel any of that. Okay?
Okay.
You don't feel any of that. If it's trying to fling you off the Earth,
okay,
but the force of gravity is resisting back, by what force is it trying to fling you off? That upward centrifugal force subtracts from the gravitational force that the Earth is trying to put on you. It subtracts.
Okay.
So Chuck, what do you weigh here and now?
192 pounds. Yeah.
I'll give you the 190 pounds, okay?
Okay.
So if you do the math, you run to Ecuador, because we're in the Western Hemisphere, so let's stay there. You run to Ecuador, you will not be 190 pounds. You'll be like 185 pounds.
What?
That's how significant.
What? That's how significant it is? So if you have a pile of gold, all right, you take that to the North Pole, it's worth way more than at the equator. Did you know that, everyone? Did you know that? Do you realize how rich you could get just by buying gold up north, or gold at the equator and taking it up north? What a scam that would be, right?
significant it is. That's if I did my math correct, and I think I did, there are pounds less that you weigh for living on the equator than for living anywhere else, simply because the spinning Earth is trying to fling you off.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
If the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour in a curved trajectory, we're dropping at a rate of miles per minute, but somehow none of that inertia affects these rocks here.
I couldn't even stop it fast enough. Let's try this again. Watch this. We've got David here. He's got his pile of rocks.
Of miles per minute, but somehow none of that inertia affects these rocks here.
There, I caught him. There's the ODD. All right, so he's in here for a second or two with Dave on this beach. They cut him in just for a second or two. Now, when we come back next time, we'll take a closer look at this, because there's other scenes of ODD in this video where he's got a piece next to him on a desk, and it's hard to tell right here, but it does look like there is a piece on his hip right there. So what's the problem with ODD having a piece? Well, he's a convicted rapist, and so that makes him a felon, which would mean that he shouldn't be having pieces. Now, he's just going to say that he's in a movie and that was a prop gun, right? The other gun that you see in the scene, that was just a prop gun. But why are they doing that? Why are they taking a convicted felon that everybody knows can't have a gun, and why are they putting a gun in his scenes? Why is he out here in his camel pants for 3/4 of a second? Let's watch this again. All right, I'll let it play through.
Rate of miles per minute, but somehow none of that inertia affects these rocks here, which are perfectly balanced.
That was a fast transition.
The fact is,
was that the fastest transition of the whole video? I'm gonna guess yes. Watch again.
We're dropping at a rate of miles per minute, but somehow none of that inertia affects these rocks here, which are perfectly balanced.
The fact is,
they had to get that scene in, right? So here we are. We'll be able to finish this in another hangout here, but sorry for all the technical problems tonight, everybody. We're trying to do our best to give you the quality live streams that we've been given for years, but have been taken away from us recently. We want to get back to where we were at. So we'll wrap it up for now. We're just about to the 30-minute mark out of this video, and there's still plenty more to go through. And I do know that Astromut, or Astronomy Live, he has another debunk video. He focused on the old lady, the 102-year-old, and I feel like that's not even an argument that's worth time to even consider, because it's hearsay. So she's saying that she was taught flat, non-rotating Earth, and she's 102. So maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. It's not provable. She doesn't have any evidence. She doesn't have a certificate, and there's no eyewitnesses. There's no testimony from other people. There's no footage of it. So it's just hearsay. So we like to stick to the things that are very easy to prove, and through that proof, through acquiring that knowledge, through using that evidence, you can either debunk or support things. So a little hearsay, I don't think it's worth the time to even cover. So, but we do want to go through the rest of this video. There's so much more to go through, and sorry to everyone as far as the technical issues that we had tonight. We're doing our best, but thank you for tuning in, and we should be live Friday night with Memes of the Week 23. And I've got some inside scoop that it might be a whole bunch of information about simulation. So I'm excited about that. That's one of my favorite topics. Sorry you weren't able to be live with me, brother, tonight. let's go ahead and finish this off with a little bit of David Weiss, because he's the guy behind all this. He's the pay guy. Did you see? You remember how ODD showed up here? Let's just take a look at this one more time. Remember how ODD
We're
showed up
dropping
here?
at a rate of miles per minute, but somehow none of that inertia affects these rocks here.
So ODD just chose to pay to come up here and stack rocks with David, or he was paid to come up here and be with David. So there is a team, and this guy, the app guy that tracks you, where you're just a blue dot, he's got all these fake flat earthers around him that they're all Freemasons and Jesuits and Knights Templars and Rosicrucians and all that kind of stuff, because these hat wearing guys are actual Satanists, everybody. They're Kabbalists. So leave it up to the New World Order to create a false dichotomy again, where they pitted heliocentrism, which they made up, versus the fake flat earth, where it's circular and domed and ice walled and all that. So they've got false dichotomy, and then they control both narratives, and if you fall for either one, you're wrong. So we've been pointing out, there's a video on my channel that the working map and model, we've had it for 5 years now. Check that out. And I guess that's it. We'll head out of here tonight, and we'll see you again soon. And this was awful, Dave. It was absolutely awful.
And I hereby induct you both into the Order of the Arc Knights.
me. Hello. How's that? David Weiss is gay. How's that?
Say it louder. Say it louder.
Didn't quite hear that. Can you repeat
Yeah,
it?
one more time.
I've got proof. I've got proof. I've done that.
Please show.
Oh, you have a receipt for that?
I do, yeah. I have. If I could screen share, I could show you exactly what I mean. But you know,
yeah,
Mike, I was doing it. Mike, I sent one to you, didn't I? Right? He's doing subliminal like homosexual promotion. He's saying like, you know, I love balls. You got right?
You love balls. Everyone loves balls. Okay, balls are fun. You love balls. Everyone loves balls. Okay, balls are fun.
Right, you see what he's put. You see the agenda that he's pushing here.
He's gonna kill me, dude.
He's not. No. We've got to expose these people.
You're gonna have to watch that back now, Alex. She's gonna come after me.
No. We have to expose. There's more.
Play that second one, Mike.
Okay.
This is subliminal predictive programming going on here, guys. Okay?
You gotta finesse the balls, you know.
Alex, you sent it or not?
Yeah, I sent it on Facebook.
Gotta bounce the balls.
I've got more. I've got loads.
Oh my god,
dude! Don't watch it before us.
I'm just trying to bring it without the audio. Hold on.
Rude.
Okay.
You got it? I've got a few more of these. I'm just saying.
I've got a few more of these. Listen to this guy. He sits in his fucking studio and he clips us. Watch out what you say.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. There's gonna be like a clip. There's just gonna be a clip of me laugh snorting and bong rips.
Right. There will be now.
Volume.
Bringing it up.
I might be gay.
You can't hear that?
Oh, wait, what?
Just saying.
What?
Just saying, right? Just saying.
I think we heard the part we were supposed to hear.
I might be gay. I might be gay. I might be gay.
Okay, so you gotta put that in front of the ball.
I might be gay.
I might be gay. Everyone loves ball.
Oh my god. Y'all heard that, right?
I might be gay.
Yes.
Everyone loves ball.
All right.
Oh no, I got more.
It's all
Wait, what?
But wait, there's more.
Oh, Billy Mays over here.
I'm just saying, there's definitely agenda here. If you can see it, okay. So we need to expose the darkness in this world.
Poor Dave.
my
I said. When did this show become Let's Bash Dave?
Man, shout out to Dave, bro. He's been
Since I
work.
was born.
It's exposing the gay balls.
This is exposed on David Weiss because we need to do this. Mike,
No,
I've just sent you another one, so check that one out.
Well, wait, yeah, there's one. There it is. Oh my god.
I mean, it's just the way he says it, right?
Yeah. No, but we have to put these all together. It doesn't. I can imagine.
They're all going in the song. They will be going in the song one day because you know, I'm here to musically expose the evil in this world. And
yeah. Who's gonna do it if you don't? Who's gonna expose these people if it's not for you, Alex?
Exactly. This is what I live for.
It'll be great. I'll totally listen to that.
Oh, you wait till I show you the last one, then you'll know for sure that Weiss is a shit.
I just have the biggest mouth.
What?
I just have the biggest mouth. I just have the biggest mouth.
And then you pause it when he puts his tongue there. Oh,
I just have the biggest mouth. I just have the biggest mouth. I just have the biggest mouth.
Oh my
I just have the biggest mouth.
Already had, right? You love balls. I love balls. I might be gay. I just have the biggest mouth. Come on, can you not see what's going on here?
This is too good.
I
Can you
can't
not
wait
see?
for him to see this shit.
I'm just saying. I'm just
Still
pointing out. Look, like RV says, like Russian bids.
Dave,
right?
I love you, man. I'm sorry
Dude.
that we're doing this right now. It wasn't
I'm
my
not.
idea.
I'm not. I'm just saying that It's not about the one particular thing, right? The one particular thing on its own, you might say, oh, that's nothing. It's about everything. You put it all together and you can see it, okay? Like RV says, put it all together and you can start to see the bigger picture. It's time to do anything. All I'm saying is, when you put all this all together, right, Dave has always said in every single interview I've heard him say, the sky is a perfect clock, right? The sky is a perfect... How many times have you heard him say that? Right? Now, Jimi Hendrix did the same thing years ago. Do you remember when he said, excuse me while I kiss the sky? Remember that? Well, so many people thought it was saying, excuse me while I kiss this guy. Right? Right? Now, hold on. So when you put this together, when you hear him say, the sky is a perfect clock, no, what he's actually saying is, this guy has a perfect cock. Listen, play the clip.
Listen closely. Look, okay, Alex, you're a lot brighter than I thought because you're really breaking it down like a doctor right now.
I'm just saying, I've been studying this stuff for years. I've been in truth for years. I can sense a psyop when I see it.
Your gaydar has gone off. Your gaydar's like...
His shieldar.
His shieldar.
This is fucking great. Did you just bring up the video or what? Where'd it go?
Yeah, you missed it, bro.
I missed it.
Oh, I didn't see it or hear it.
I didn't even see it. I didn't see it. I didn't bring it up because I got coffee.
Yeah, I've sent it on Facebook. The sky is a perfect clock.
The sky is a perfect clock.
Say again.
The sky is a perfect clock.
Oh my God.
What's that?
The sky is a perfect clock.
Oh my God.
Right?
David.
David. Now, seriously, I'm going to go in. Somebody's got to go in and put those together.
You love balls. Everyone loves balls. Okay? Balls are fun. You love balls. Everyone loves balls. Okay? Balls are fun. I might be gay.
You can't hear that?
Oh, wait, what?
Just saying.
What?
Just saying, right? Just saying.
I think we heard the part we were supposed to hear.
I might be gay. I might be gay. I might be gay.
Okay, so you got to put that in front of the ball.
I might be gay.
I might be gay. Everyone loves balls.
Oh, you wait till I show you the last one, then you'll know for sure that Weiss is a shield.
I just have the biggest mouth.
What?
I just have the biggest mouth. I just have the biggest mouth.
And then you pause it when he puts his tongue there. Oh,
I just have the biggest mouth. I just have the biggest mouth. I just have the biggest mouth.
Oh my God.
I just have the biggest mouth.
Already had, right? You love balls. I love balls. I might be gay. I just have the biggest mouth. Come on, can you not see what's going on here?
This is too good.
I've sent it on Facebook. The sky is a perfect clock.
The sky is a perfect clock.
Say again.
The sky is a perfect clock.
Oh my God.
What's that?
The sky is a perfect clock.
Gotta find some way out of here.
Well, even though he is a gay shield, he did bring me to the whole flat earth.
Alex Jones is the same, right? He woke me up, Alex Jones, but it's a show, and this is the same with Weiss as well. You know, he woke me up, to the flat earth, but ultimately we are dealing with somebody who's pushing the homosexual agenda.